Hi, I'm Dan Verton, Editorial Director with FedScoop. We're here today at the Security Through Innovation Summit in Washington, D.C., and speaking with us is Dr. Patrick Dowd. Dr. Dowd is the Director's Science Advisor and Chief Technical Officer at the National Security Agency. Dr. Dowd, thank you so much for being here today.
Happy to be here.
So I have to start off with one question based on your presentation earlier this morning. You mentioned that you were sort of sick of the use of the word cloud. So please explain to myself and to the audience, why you're so sick of the use of the word cloud.
Oh, it's just so overused. Everything is cloud this and cloud that. It almost has no meaning anymore.
Right.
So if I had a better word for it, I would use it, but we're stuck with it.
We're stuck with it for now.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let me also ask you about disrupting factors in security. What is the number one positive or negative disruptor that you are seeing today in the security space as it applies to your organization at NSA?
Well, the disruptor I have in mind is not so much specific to NSA. It's in general the large increase in large-scale attacks that have taken place. I think the unintended consequence from the attack's point of view is that people are now seeing it, that this is for real. This isn't just reserved for a limited few, but it cuts across a very broad segment of our society, and that they really can't ignore it anymore. And so what I've seen is an uptick in how serious people take this whole field in general. So it's a disruptor in a negative sense, all these attacks, but it's actually causing a positive in that people are really now focusing on this. Mm-hmm. And before, people would do the bare minimum for due diligence and things like that, but now they actually want to protect their environment. So I think that's all positive. Now, I wish there was a better way to get there than these large-scale attacks. But
a little easier to get the CEO's attention today.
Yes.
Many organizations, particularly in government, are moving to cloud services. But what they're finding is that the progress is a little slow, primarily because of the security concerns. Can you, help us understand how an organization can make that change to cloud-based services, to cloud-based computing, and ensure that security is built into the process from the start?
Well, first I would suggest that I would ask why they think the cloud is less secure than their current environment. And this might seem like a funny question, but if you think about a lot of the small and medium-sized companies, they don't have a large security staff. And so what makes them think that their data is any safer where it is, just because it's behind their firewall? Seriously, So I think that there's a reality check that has to take place here. But the other thing that I would say is that if you do have concerns above and beyond what the base offering, what a cloud provider, you can supplement. So for example, NSA is involved in the intelligence community IT efficiencies activity. Mm-hmm. And so we're standing up what we call GovCloud, which is an OpenStack-based utility cloud. CIA has stood up via Amazon an EC2 instance called C2S. So people from NSA will use the C2S platform for our work. But what we're doing is we're taking the security capabilities that we built on top of OpenStack, because OpenStack is basically an EC2 clone, and we're porting them to C2S. And so if we're not happy, we can supplement that. And so everybody who operates on C2S from NSA will automatically get that image automatically. So it's not like they have to do any extra work. Mm-hmm. They'll just inherit that, when they run their activities on it. And so you can supplement. There's nothing stopping you. But just my big concern is that with small businesses who really don't have a security staff, I think in many cases it's actually safer for them to leave it in the cloud. And I just don't think that fact is appreciated.
Another issue that's really important that you touched upon in your presentation is the growing complexity of large IT environments. We're talking about clouds within clouds. We're talking about introduction of mobile, personal devices, the Internet of Things. Talk to me a little bit about how, first of all, why it's important to reduce complexity, and how some examples from how NSA is actually looking at complexity as a security issue.
Yeah, we definitely see it as a security issue. understanding what's going on in your environment is like the first step to securing it. And you could always install boundary protection devices and network intrusion detection platforms, but you're shooting in the dark, really. What you really need is a more concerted security strategy based in bringing all assets in your enterprise together to work that problem instead of piece parts. And you really can't do that if your environment is largely fragmented and you really don't understand what's going on in it. So we've undergone a substantial realignment in terms of our overall architecture of how we actually structure our environment so that we can both provide a better experience for our analysts from an operational point of view. When I say operation, we have two classes of operation. The foreign intelligence mission of NSA and the cyber defense mission. That's one class of mission. And then there's the internal running the enterprise. That's another mission. So I'm speaking about really both. It supports the reducing complexity supports the operational users, and it provides the people who run the internal environment the ability to understand what's going on and where the environment needs to be instrumented so they can see what's going on. And so long as all those sensors and platforms that you're deploying work together as a unified system through some form of integration, I think you can rapidly drive down the noise and unknown activity that's on your network.
And you also mentioned you're saving money as well,
yeah,
right?
I do. I try not to say that. See, I have some experience with saying it has operational benefit, it's better security, and oh, by the way, it also costs less.
Right.
And people flip it around. They say, oh, it costs less, and they forget about these others. So.
Right. Okay. I actually also wanted to ask you about mobility. The Navy, as an example, is this year will be rolling out 30,000 basically BYOD devices, iPhone, Samsung devices, different commercial devices, all of which are said to have the ability to segment your personal life from your professional life. Technically speaking, the NSA is known to famously have done the president's BlackBerry, right?
So someone alleged.
Someone alleged. What are your thoughts on the ability to do just that from a security perspective? Is it possible at the government's required level of security, confidentiality, and separating that data, is it possible to do that today on these commercial devices?
Possible to do it today, it depends on, it depends. What I would say is that we absolutely have to work this problem. We've held off mobile devices for so long, and now people are realizing that you just can't hold it off much longer. So we have to confront this problem. So I think it's terrific what they're doing, because they're going to do this, they're going to learn some things, they'll see, and the next iteration will be better, and the next iteration after that will be better. We're doing the exact same thing in terms of having mobile pilots, and a number of the agencies within the intelligence community are doing the same thing. The problem is it's not going to be just a flip a switch and we get to perfect. And I think people all understand that now, and so we're just taking it one step, and we're iterating to get there.
Right.
But I really do think that we will get there. But it's, I wouldn't point to any single pilot activity going on right now and saying this is the answer.
That's the way forward.
Yeah, I think that they will definitely contribute to the ultimate solution. But I don't think they should. I don't think we should put that level of a burden on top of them. Otherwise, no one will do anything in this space. Right. They're going to do it. It'll be successful. We'll learn something from it in the next iteration.
I heard an interesting, actually, idea of the security implications of this, or ways to secure it, goes to the cloud, which is if the data is in the cloud, it's not on the physical device. And if you lose that device, you haven't lost all your government data.
I had one of the pilots I had, because I'm the chief technical officer, I get all the toys.
Right.
So I had a Samsung Android platform that was wiped, and basically everything is run in our data center. So it was basically a thin client handset.
Right.
It was kind of interesting. The performance was quite good too. So that's one of the options that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. We're learning what's going to work in what environment, and whether you want partial state on the system or whether you really want it totally thin. We're making progress.
Excellent. Last question before I let you go. I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. Let me ask you about cybersecurity leadership. particularly from a workforce perspective. What trends are you seeing in terms of the workforce from a cybersecurity perspective? And what do you think needs to be done to ensure that America continues to attract, particularly the government, continues to attract the right, best talent to help protect the nation's critical computer systems?
Well, I think early outreach is important. We do have a program at NSA to reach out to the high schools in the area, and we have mathematicians who go out and they talk math to high school students, and engineers and physicists and chemists go doing the same. Early exposure, letting the students in high school understand that there's a big world out there and there's a lot out there for them, I think is really an important thing. So early, I think, is definitely important. It's for us, we have a very large technical workforce, and it's very, very important to us. And this is a really big issue.
Right. And last time I heard, I talked to some of your colleagues. There's post-Snowden, there's no downturn in the number of folks that want to come and work there because of the world-class math that's taking place there, world-class engineers.
No, as far as the, I don't know if I could actually tell you the number of resumes we get each year, but it's massive.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no shortage, or there has been no drop-off at all. In fact, if anything, it's increased.
Thanks for watching. I'm Dan Verton with FedScoop. See you next time.